that reading Wolf's message this morning was the most magical experience. I awoke about 2:30, and after tossing and turning for a while, finally said, okay, I'll get up. Usually there's a reason I can't sleep. And I was guided to read certain books that are in the living room of our bus. And I was reading all these things, all these analogies and metaphors and good stuff. And darned if so much of that didn't come up today again in Wolf's message. The teaching was we can read the same information that we've heard in the past. Wolf's message, of course, I wrote it several years ago, but I haven't read it since then. And so I had forgotten so much. And they were showing me that this is why we use the metaphor of the spiral, which is so prominent in Wolf's book. The spiral as a symbol for the ongoing evolution of your soul. Ever onward, ever upward. But just like a circle that has an infinite number of points on that circle, we never really hit all the points in our journey that are possible. We never achieve the full potential because we as souls arise from a field of pure potential. So just because you made one spiral on your soul's growth during this journey of your lifetime in physical form, we don't know how many times you'll spiral greater and greater, higher and higher. You miss some of these growth opportunities, but a spiral means certain patterns in your life will repeat themselves. Don't we all know that? Good or bad. And so certain key images that came up in Wolf's book came up in my reading last night, and there they are today. Certain characters showed up in my characters. How about Archangel Michael? No disrespect meant. Showed up this morning out of the blue. I said, anybody want to visit me? And here's Archangel Michael. So special. I had not had a visit from him in years. And he only had one message: celebrate the magic in the clouds. Okay. So I'm reading Wolf's message out loud for the audiobook, and the character Velvet in the book says, oh, you're going to Banff, Canada? That's where Archangel Michael hangs out. I had completely forgotten Archangel Michael was even in Wolf's message. And here he comes. And of course, I read on and go to Banff, and that's when this beautiful cloud image with wings showed up at a very timely moment. So clearly, the higher beings knew that that was going to come out in the book today, but the message was that these certain things in our lives will repeat themselves, but you'll have a different viewpoint of them as your growth spirals higher and higher, as your vibration rises. What does that mean? As you learn more about why we're here, to love unconditionally everyone as a soul. Does that mean we accept unacceptable behavior? Not at all. But we can still see the soul beneath that behavior and send them love. So the more loving you become, the finer your vibration. If you're on this spiritual path, you may understand what I mean by going through periods of ramping up. And this is when suddenly you may not be able to sleep well because you're just a little bit higher than normal. You feel the energy more than normal. You're getting more having a greater connection with your guides. You're hearing from loved ones. Synchronicities are common. And this may last for a wonderful period of 2 to 3 weeks as your energetic fields, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, come into alignment and adjust, acclimate to the higher vibration. I call those the ramping ups. And they're wonderful, exciting periods, but then it levels off at the new normal, a bit higher than where you were before. And you go on like this, learning, growing, trying out this new energy and what it means for you as a soul and a human. And then maybe in a little while, you have another ramping up and you go a little higher. So just a little sharing there about how the spiral of the soul's growth works. Balance is the subject. And we talk about being centered. And we know what that means. It means being in a nice, peaceful state. Our goal is to connect with higher consciousness, which we mentioned earlier this evening, can be your own higher self, loved ones, angels, the masters, the source itself. Of course, we would want to be in a nice, centered state, but I'll talk about why as we go along. But, when was it? Last week, I was supposed to do a reading. I remember why I was out of sorts. Out of sorts because we had a mechanical problem with the bus, which is our home for the next year. And we had to put it in the shop. Well, I had a reading scheduled. What am I going to do? Well, I have to do the reading from the car. That's not too much of a problem because in the past I used to meditate every day in the car when we had a smaller RV. You can meditate anywhere that you just make your own sacred space. So, okay. The whole morning is discombobulated because we had to drop the bus off, but I'm now settled in the car, but totally out of sorts. And time is running out. I have about 9 minutes till the reading's going to start. And it is so important to be peaceful and centered to do a reading. If I'm out of sorts like that, I generally will do my own 10-minute transformation chakra clearing exercise. So now what am I going to do? I don't have time to do that. I'm going to have to do a mini chakra clearing exercise. Well, Ty has gone into Starbucks. The dogs are in the back seat of the car. So I'm just getting ready to balance my chakras, and Ty comes back in the car. I was like, I'm sorry, honey, I forgot whatever it was, And now I'm just like, oh. And he leaves, and I did something that is so out of character for me. But I see now it was a setup because it leads to this teaching. He left, and when he was out of earshot, sitting in the car, we're now down to 6 minutes before the reading, I let out a primal scream. I mean, it was just this roar. And I'm sure the dogs in the back seat are thinking, Mom has gone crazy. What do we do? And then I said, it's okay, guys. The moment I did that, thinking, oh my God, how am I going to get it back in balance? I heard my entire team in spirit, who are clearly gathered for this reading, laughing hysterically. And it came with this claircognizance, this knowing, teaching point, and I got it. They wanted me to laugh out loud. Why? To completely balance the energy of the primal scream. And I did. I started, if you've heard of laughter yoga or giggle yoga, I've never engaged in it, but I'm sitting there in the front seat of the car, and I will not demonstrate, but I started laughing, belly laughs, and this smiling makes your energy rise. So imagine what laughing does. I'm sitting there, and it was miraculous. It instantly neutralized that primal scream. It instantly erased all of the angst and the frustration. Now the dogs really think Mom's lost it from the back seat, right? I go from primal scream to laughing. But can you see that extreme energy? How often do we just laugh by ourselves? And that was it. And now my time's up. And let me tell you, that reading was wonderful. We had the most wonderful connection. I didn't explain any of that had happened. I didn't tell my client that I was off. All I said was, I know you can see I'm sitting in my car. You have nothing to worry about. I used to meditate here. Put your client at ease. And it was beautiful. So when that was over, I thought I would have to make a note of that and share that with everybody. Wolf came back in his message to teach us we need to balance the head with the heart. We are connected with all that is through this central shaft that, imagine this flow going in and out constantly. My guides say to picture it like the in-breath and out-breath. That's how we exchange information with all other patterns of consciousness, light beings around us. You are pure consciousness that's arising. Your soul is this energetic being who takes form as a human, which is a specific pattern of sentient energy, consciousness and energy. And that pattern is changing all the time. And what you breathe in, you have experiences, and you breathe out. This is just energy expanding. And what you have taken in now interacts with the entire field, informing that field from what you've learned. So all of our actions, all of our thoughts affect the entire field of which we are a part. Everything intimately interconnected. What different ways do we become balanced and coherent? I talked already about one of the major ways, our human side with our soul awareness. But there's also our masculine and feminine energies. Personally, this has been a big thing for me in the last 3 to 6 months, is bringing in more of the female energies. So what this has resulted in for me, and I hope you'll take this on board for you, is much greater claircognizance as I embrace the female energies. We all have an equal balance of both in us, no matter what gender we are. We need to balance the two. The masculine is more of the active, doing part of us, thinking. The female energy is more of the birthing of ideas, the creativity side of us, the knowing side of us. Get those two balanced and click. You're coming into alignment again. What I was shown is the reason that as I've worked on bringing this in, that my claircognizance, my clear knowing, my sense of knowing when I connect with higher consciousness has increased, is because the seat of claircognizance is the crown chakra. Now imagine, this is where much of the energy is flowing in and out through the crown, connecting us with the spirit world. What is the color associated with the crown chakra? You're right, it's violet or purple. What makes up purple color? Blue and pink, blue and red. Blue being the boy, pink being the girl. It's just this really cool visual. And so my claircognizance had not been as good as it is lately, because I was so much more in the left brain and the doing and the active and the thinking. And as we're embracing now the creativity, the flowing, and the knowing, we're now bringing both the masculine and the feminine energies into balance. Pretty cool, huh? Picture that magnet just locking it in there. So we have left and right hemispheres of our brain as well, very much along the same lines as the masculine and feminine. Are you very logical and analytical? Do you have to think through everything and use words? That's left brain. Right brain would be more creative, more flowing, conceptually simply know. That goes hand in hand with masculine and feminine. How about bringing into balance your physical and emotional bodies? So you can see why alignment is really key, why balance is key if you want to connect with higher consciousness. Where might you be out of balance now? You want to connect across the veil with your guides, with your loved ones, with the angels, with the source itself. You are this field of that is constantly exchanging waves of information. You arise from this pure stillness to become this undulating field full of information. So you want to connect, become centered, become balanced, be the presence of love. That's why these are